What if the ultimate cure for anxiety, stress, and even chronic pain isn't a pill, a diet, or even therapy sessions, but simply choosing to let go? In this video, I'm going to be talking about Letting Go by David R. Hawkins, the preface. David's main goal in his clinical psychiatric practice was to find the ultimate way to relieve human suffering. He studied a multitude of ways: medicine, psychology, nutrition, acupuncture, etc. Like all that you could study about relieving suffering. And he found that the ultimate way to relieve suffering is through surrendering and letting go. The letting go technique is a pragmatic system that eliminates obstacles and attachments. This is also known as the mechanism of surrender. Research has shown that the most effective approach to relieving stress is through surrendering, because it sets us free from emotional attachments. It also verifies the observation from every sage that attachments are the primary cause of suffering. The mind, with its thoughts, is driven by feelings. Each feeling is the cumulative derivative of many thousands of thoughts. Because most people throughout their lives repress, suppress, and try to escape from their feelings, the suppressed energy accumulates and seeks expression through psychosomatic distress, bodily disorders, emotional illnesses, and disordered behavior in interpersonal relationships. The accumulated feelings block spiritual growth and awareness, as well as success in many areas of life. I have really experienced this within my own life. I grew up gay in a Catholic and homophobic environment. And that's not to say that all Catholics are homophobic and all that, but in the environment that I was in, it was unaccepting, and I really suppressed a lot of myself and hid who I truly authentically was. And I felt that I had to die. I felt that I couldn't be who I was. So I just had all of these emotions buried inside of me, and I didn't have an emotional outlet. I didn't have emotional support or help to navigate this situation that I was in as such a young child. And I was often bullied by other people, and I didn't know how to interact with people anymore. I really just pulled myself away because I was so tired of being labeled and being judged and just feeling like such an outcast. So I just isolated and I repressed all my emotions and all my feelings, and I just hid myself away. And so that manifested as illnesses, and my mental health was not good, and I wanted to die because of these repressed feelings that were within me, because I felt that I couldn't be my authentic self. Ultimately, through discovering spirituality and learning how to manage my emotions and my thoughts and what I truly want for my life, and how to fully allow myself to be my authentic self without needing external validation from anyone in my life. Because for a long time, people projected this opinion that I was evil, that I was a sinner, that I deserved to die simply for who I choose to love. And that is just really mind-fucking. And no child deserves to go through that. And I hope to build a better world, a more loving, unconditionally loving world, so that other people, other kids don't have to suffer in the way that I suffered. And a lot of the time, even when just having friends, it's like their own family morals and how other people viewed me simply by the way that I looked, it affected my friendships. And I will never forget the deep impact that had on me of no longer being allowed to be friends with other people because of that part of me. It just gutted me. It was really painful to lose friendships to that, and just to feel so alone. and not understand and not being told why, but kind of discovering that later on. So all of these repressed and suppressed emotions manifested into mental illness, but I worked through it through spirituality and learning how to manage my emotions and learning to pick a better feeling thought and focusing on the future and the reality that I do desire for my life, and ultimately accepting my authentic self. And now as I take on this journey of creating the life that I desire and showing you that it's possible, I've come across some fears of not authentically being myself. There will be times when I'm recording and I'll stop saying something because I feel that I have to hide it. And so the more that I confront those things, the more that I share my truth and allow myself to speak authentically, the more I embody my authentic self and my authentic truth. And it's like this healing experience is happening while I allow myself to embody that, the most authentic version of me. But it was through navigating all of these things that allowed me to finally break free from all of those cycles that were just trying to get me to accept and unconditionally love myself for who I authentically am. And by doing that now, I can start creating the reality that I do want instead of the reality that everyone else wanted for me. Because that success that I was seeing within the reality that I didn't even want wasn't success that made me happy. I was still miserable within that reality because it wasn't the one that I wanted to live in. But when I started focusing on the success and the reality that I do want, I started feeling good. It wasn't really about the success. It's about the journey. It's about taking the steps, going through the fear and doing it scared and doing it anyway. And if I wouldn't have taken that trip to Sedona, it was my first solo trip and I was scared shitless. But if I wouldn't taken that trip, I wouldn't have this level of awareness that I have now. I wouldn't have had those beautiful moments with the friends that I made. And it was very healing for me in a multitude of ways. But I just remember sitting at the lunch table and being with all these very conscious and unconditional loving people who are non-judgmental. And I just thought, wow, like, what if this was my high school experience? Because it was really hard for me when I was younger. I didn't even go to lunch. I skipped lunch and I would sit in the classroom and just like eat a protein bar, go to the gym locker room and just eat like a protein bar and just be by myself because I didn't feel safe with other people. But now I feel that part of me was just like healed, and it was just amazing. It was just like there are people out there who understand you, who are ready to unconditionally love you and be a part of your life and support you on your journey. And by being your authentic self, you are going to attract the people who vibrationally align with you and your purpose and your mission. What if I told you that by simply letting go of your inner tension and emotional baggage, you could start feeling physical relief even from chronic pain? But here's the shocking part. It's not about fixing the pain. It's about stopping the fight against it. When you let go, the pain fades. On the physical aspect, when a person consistently surrenders, physical and psychosomatic disorders improve and frequently disappear altogether. I grew up playing sports and I had a lot of shoulder injuries, particularly my left shoulder. I had 3 shoulder surgeries, 2 dislocations, and then I had to get surgery again. Very fun times, right? But I still have pain occasionally. And when I have this pain, I've learned to be in the present moment, allow myself to just sit and feel into the discomfort of the pain that I'm experiencing in my shoulder. And then I try to take my awareness away from that pain and focus on the birds flying by or the sounds that I'm hearing, the AC is on, and being in the present moment and taking my attention away from the pain that I feel. And then over time, you will begin to notice that you're not feeling that pain anymore. And in that present moment, you are healed. There is no pain. There is no current pain. And from time to time, it flares up again. But I do the same thing. I take my attention, I take my awareness, and I focus on something else. And I just sit in the stillness and presence, and I watch. And I feel as it just dissipates. And I've really studied this in a lot of books. It's come up that this is how a lot of people, through presence, kind of heal their own body. And what I found is that when I focus on the problem, if I allow myself to spiral into fear about, oh my God, my shoulder is hurting again, oh my God, it could dislocate, oh my God, I'll have to get another surgery again. If I allow myself to feed into the fear, then it almost amplifies the pain. It's like, oh my God, it's hurting more. Oh my God, it's gonna come out. Like just really feeding into that negative energy, it like makes it worse. It honestly does. And so if you have chronic pain, then I ask that you try this. Try sitting in presence, especially if you're experiencing it, and focusing on whatever's happening in your current reality, like the AC being on, or just the small things, and see if it begins to dissipate. And keep continually doing this, and don't allow yourself to feed into the fears, and see if this helps you. I've shared this technique with a couple people in my life, and they have seen great benefits from it. We think we need more discipline to stop self-sabotage, to quit the drinking, the scrolling, the overthinking. But the truth is, it's not about control. It's about release. When I started letting go of the emotions underneath those habits, I didn't need willpower anymore. I felt free. For the behavioral benefits of someone who is constantly surrendering, there is a decrease of anxiety and negative emotions. There is less need for escapism through drugs, alcohol, sleep, entertainment. And there is an increase in energy, presence, and well-being. As I started my spiritual journey, I was still smoking medical marijuana, and I was taking this course from Eckhart Tolle, and it was about becoming a teacher of presence. And someone had asked the question about plant medicine, and I was actually watching this live stream high. And so it was just a very important moment for me as I was listening to Eckhart's answer. And from his answer, I realized that I was going to have to get sober, that I was going to have to let go of this crutch, because I was a consistent user. I was using it every day. And it became something that was unhealthy for me, and it was making me sick, and it was causing me more pain. And so I knew I was going to have to break my addiction. And it definitely wasn't easy. There was times when I would go a period, and then I'd throw all my stuff away, and then I'd get it back out of the trash. And it was very difficult for a period of months as I was navigating getting sober fully and just completely stopping. But now I am 1 year and 11 months sober, and I am really proud of myself. Often people drink or they do drugs to get out of those emotions that they don't want to feel, to suppress those emotions even deeper. But I chose to face the emotions that I was suppressing. I had to go through some really dark stuff. And that ultimately led me to drink. I was never into drinking when I was growing up. It just didn't interest me. And as I had to go through a lot of suffering, I was like, well, this is how everyone else deals with it, so let me just drink. And it was by myself. Like, I would only do it by myself because that was the only way I felt safe. And I was just going through a really hard time with my the suppression of my emotions and not wanting to feel, not wanting to be alive. And so I am really grateful that I can say that I chose to work through that. I chose to feel those hard feelings that I had to feel of the things that had happened to me in my past, and allowing myself to work through that. Ultimately, to discover joy within the now, within my own presence. A lot of the times we use alcohol or drugs as an excuse to feel joy. I mean, marijuana for me, it made me feel joy. It was like an instant depression healer for me because I just felt presence. That is what I felt. I felt presence. I felt in the current moment. There was no thoughts going on. I was free. I was in that. But then I realized through Eckhart's teachings that that's how life is meant to be lived without needing any external substance, without needing any external person, any external thing. It's like all from within you. And so working through all those things for me and being able to find joy even without the alcohol and stuff like that. People use it as an excuse, like, oh, I can be fun, I can be free, I can dance and do these stupid things while I have this substance in me. But the thing is, you can dance, you can do stupid things, you can have fun, you can roll around like a little kid, even if you're sober. And learning how to do that, allowing your inner child to come out and play and go crazy and jump on the bed and jump on the couch and do those little things that you did as a child to really allow yourself to have fun and play like you did when you were younger. But through surrendering to those emotions and the things that I needed to work through, and surrendering the external things that I was using to suppress them, over time there was an increase of energy, an increase of presence, and an increase of well-being. No more mental health problems, no more sleeping my life away. I really also slept a lot of my life away, scrolled a lot of my life away, just trying to suppress what I was feeling. But ultimately, through surrendering everything that I was going through and allowing the universe to show me the path and guide me through this, the universe did pull me out of it. It showed me the way. And I surrendered, and I surrender each and every day. It's a practice. It can be hard at first because you're not used to it. But the more that you show up for yourself, the more that you trust in the universe and know that everything is working out for you, the more you'll be living a life full of well-being, presence, and joy. Do you feel stuck in toxic relationship or self-sabotaging patterns? You might think it's about controlling others, but what if I told you it's about letting go of your expectations? You'll be shocked to find out that when you let go of control, your relationships begin to heal themselves. True connection starts when you stop forcing it. When you bring surrender to interpersonal relationships, you increase the capacity to love. Conflicts with others decrease progressively. Self-sabotaging behavior based on guilt diminishes. You have a greater use of intuitive knowingness. You uncover creative and psychic abilities through suppressed negative emotions. As dependency diminishes, so does aggressiveness and hostile behavior. These negative feelings are replaced with acceptance and lovingness towards others. Growing up, I definitely had a codependency wound. I didn't trust my own inner advice. I was constantly reaching out to my friends, being like, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. Because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my own advice. I felt like I had to always seek external things. And so over the years, as I've been healing, I've definitely been going inward and trusting myself more. And a big part of healing my codependency wound was getting out of therapy. I spent 10 years in therapy, and I really relied on them for external advice. And it didn't lead me to where I wanted to go. And so when I started turning inward and I freed myself from those situations, yes, they were beneficial, but they were holding me back from going within and trusting myself and trusting my path. And so once I began to focus inward and become more independent, this allowed me to be confident within myself and to fully embody who I'm meant to be in this lifetime and to follow my purpose and to follow my path. And I may have overcorrected a little bit because I've been in hermit mode. Like, I've literally isolated for many years. I didn't go out, I didn't hang out with anybody, I just stayed inside and I read my spiritual books, and I felt really good doing that. But now I feel that it's been time for me to integrate again into society. But I'm finding a community, I'm finding people who are like me because I'm authentically being me, and I'm attracting people who are like me. And it's just amazing to experience and to be able to have such supportive friends in my life again, who understand and speak my language and who are just very unconditional, loving, and supportive beings. Are you feeling spiritually stuck, disconnected, or unfulfilled? What if the answer isn't about seeking more knowledge or working harder? The real answer is letting go. When you release what's blocking you, your true self starts to emerge and everything starts to make sense. What are the benefits of surrendering in spirituality? The letting go of negative emotions means that the person experiences ever increasing happiness, contentment, peace, and joy. There is an expansion of awareness, progressive realization, and experiencing of the real inner self. The progressive letting go of limitations allows the realization at last of one's true identity. Letting go is one of the greatest tools for reaching your spiritual goals. And I would also add mental health goals as well, because I believe that, at least for me, healing my mental health came through studying spirituality. One of the most helpful tools for me when it comes to spirituality and emotions was the Emotional Guidance Scale from the book Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. Learning how to control my emotions and that I have the choice to choose how I feel, to choose my emotion, to choose a better feeling thought. If you haven't checked out the Emotional Guidance Scale, or you don't know what I'm talking about, I recommend that you look it up at the very least, because it'll have a list of emotions. And I always check this list and see what emotion that I feel that I'm currently at, like the vibration that I feel that I'm currently at based on the emotion. Joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation is the top. And the lowest on the scale is fear, grief, depression, despair, and powerlessness. Right now, I would say that I would say 3, which is enthusiasm, eagerness, and happiness, because I just felt this sense of happiness when I read happiness, and I feel really good right now. So looking at this and seeing what I'm feeling, I mean, sometimes I feel overwhelmment, right? And that's number 11. And so I'm like, how do I work my way up from overwhelmment? What is making me feel overwhelmed right now? How can I work up the scale here? And I really just talk out loud to myself about what I'm feeling overwhelmed about and try to ease that feeling within me and focusing on the positive rather than focusing on the negative. Oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed that I have to make this video. I could be like, but I get to make this video, but I get to spend the time to make this video, to connect with other people, to be my authentic self, to share myself with the world, and knowing that it's my purpose, it's my mission, I'm helping other people. And so focusing on those positive aspects of maybe the overwhelmment I feel of filming helps me raise my emotions, my emotional scale. Like, I'm feeling optimistic about it because this could be a video that helps many people. And so I went from overwhelmment to optimistic, which is a number 5 on the scale. So it's really tuning into yourself, learning how to tune into yourself and your emotions, and working your way up to the scale so you're consistently vibrating at a frequency of joy and love and appreciation. But there will be times when you'll wake up and you'll feel a little hatred, a little anger, and it's okay. It's all a part of the human experience. And so allow yourself to feel those emotions. But know that it's also a choice. I sat for years in depression and anger and bitterness and resentment. And I didn't know that I had the ability to choose a better feeling emotion and a better feeling thought. I thought that I was just like, I was doomed, like this external thing, this is all happening to me, that victim mentality. But I felt so empowered. I'm telling you, so empowered when I found this and I discovered this and I read Ask and It's Given. It really changed my life. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. If this video resonated with you, I recommend you check out my last video where I talked about the foreword and the greatest lesson from every spiritual teacher. I will link it at the end of this video. Like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content because there's a lot more to come. Thank you so much for watching. All my love, Ash.